Well, hello. My name is Eric Alexander, and we're going to talk about a little bit about one of my favorite things, genetics. A genetic disorder is an illness caused by abnormalities or defections on the within the chromosomes or the on the chromosomes or within like the human reproductive system. And most genetic abnormalities or genetic disorders come from autosomal either dominant or autosomal recessive genes, and it's also carried on the Y and X chromosomes. Autosomal dominant mainly comprises of diseases such as high cholesterol, which is fairly high, neurofibromatosis, Marfan syndrome, Huntington's disease, which, like, high cholesterol is something very popular. 1 in 500 people would have high cholesterol or the scientific familiar hypercholesterolemia. And not that many people would have Marfan syndrome, while autosomal recessive is a recessive gene that can be passed on by chance, which includes things like sickle cell anemia, cystic fibrosis, and Tay-Sachs disease. Sickle cell anemia affects 1 in 625 African Americans. And then you have X-linked dominant and X-linked recessive genes. X-linked dominant genes mean that no matter what, it would always be passed on because it is a dominant gene. And those normally include Rett syndrome and Aicardi syndrome. X-linked recessive genes, X-linked recessive like disorders, are passed on the X chromosome but are not guaranteed to show up. And those would include hemophilia, blindness, and male pattern baldness. And those are not exactly going to show up. And Y-linked disorders only show up in men because females only inherit the X chromosomes because you have XX for females. Since it's the Y-linked chromosome, only men are affected by it, so women are never affected by it. And those disorders are generally male infertility and hypertrichosis Pennai. And genetic disorders are clearly a lot more than that, like anything that's wrong. Eyesight, asthma, gland disorders, all those are genetic disorders that are created within inside the human genome and comprise of many things that it would take me hours and hours and hours to discuss and talk about. But for now, I just wanted to cover, the basics of genetics. Maybe some people be interested and continue to research it on, and others maybe just may not be that interested in genetics. Some people may not be that interested in genetics and may not continue. Personally, myself, I love genetics. I hopefully in my future I'll continue to study genetics and understand a little bit more diseases. So maybe when I have children, I'll know the percentages and chances of my children getting some of these disorders, and hopefully they don't. But for now, goodbye here in Toledo.